1 year ago, my life changed forever. This is a look back at my first year as a cancer patient. From the day I walked through the doors at the Mayo Clinic to the treatments, the surgeries, the radiation, one of the first things I had to do was get my port placed. That little port was about to become my lifeline for the next 5 months. And then came my first chemotherapy treatment. Our bags were packed, and believe it or not, we brought a lot of stuff with us. I was doing cold therapy on my hands and feet during chemo, so we always had an ice chest packed with special cold packs made specifically for my hands and feet. I'd show up to Mayo with lidocaine over my port, covered with a piece of plastic. Then they would access the port, start the IV, and we would begin. And this became our routine. And then came the part that made this all very real. I started losing my hair, and from that point on, this journey became a blur of appointments. IVs, ports, cold therapy, getting my gloves and mittens on, medication, waiting, sleeping, going home, and then doing it all over again. 16 times, 5 months, and finally, I got to ring the bell. I had finally made it through chemotherapy, and those were the hardest 5 months of my life. And through it all, I never lost hope. I never lost my strength. I did what I had to do for my kids, my husband, and my family, and every single person who showed up for us along the way, especially everyone at Lake Pleasant who supported and loved us through some of the hardest days of our lives. Then came surgery. It was a 4-hour surgery where they did a lumpectomy, removed a lymph node, took my port out, and did a breast reduction. This wasn't the end. It's actually preparation for a bigger surgery that's still ahead in the fall, where I'll be having a mastectomy and a deep flap reconstruction. And then I went straight into radiation. I had radiation 5 days a week for 3 weeks, and honestly, the hardest part about radiation was driving to Mayo every single day. The radiation itself didn't hurt, but the aftermath did. It felt like my esophagus had been burnt, and my throat and esophagus hurt every time I swallowed. But eventually that healed, and I started letrozole, and that put me into menopause. That part was a shock. Honestly, in some ways, it's been harder than chemotherapy and radiation. The bone pain, the joint pain, the way my body feels, someday the pain is excruciating. And the hardest part is knowing that this isn't something I just get to go through for a few weeks or a few months. I'll be taking this medication for 5 years. So even though it looks like treatment is over, it's not. The IVs may be gone and my hair has grown back, and from the outside, I look normal, but cancer doesn't just end when chemotherapy ends. The fight continues, and I'm still fighting. I look back over this past year, I see so much more than cancer. I see the people who held me up when I couldn't hold myself up. I see the love, the support, the tears, the laughter, the fear, the hope, and I see a woman who keeps going. And even though she has no idea what was waiting around the corner, 1 year ago, I became a cancer patient. Today, I'm still here, still fighting, still hopeful, and still incredibly grateful to be here. This is only the first year of my story, and I'm not done yet.